and the only way to escape this place is to build a boat. And I don't know anything about building boats and sailing, and how am I going to do that without a knife? Hey, and welcome to my room. Good evening. So today I want to share with you a really intense experience I had. I'm a vivid dreamer, and I usually remember my dreams. I dream a lot. If I get enough sleep, I get to have multiple dreams a night. And I'm used to having really hyper-realistic dreams, where my memory is intact and I know who I am. I remember events, I remember plans, I remember my past, I remember the current day. I've had lucid dreams in the past, but that's not something regular. In any way, my dream world is very rich and I'm used to it. But today I had this intense experience that I just have to share it. And I don't believe in interpreting dreams according to books and symbols and stuff like that. I just take it for what it means to myself, and I'm not looking for it to be interpreted by you guys. If you feel like it, feel free, but that's not what I'm here for. I found during the years that having experiences where you wake up from a dream and you're still dreaming, so it's like a dream inside a dream, then the outer level of the dream is more like a not regular sort of a dream. Not the deeper one, but the outer level of it, just the one you were like one level away from waking up in your bed in this reality. In going inception on you right now. So yeah, when I have these really intense or meaningful dreams, I kind of like write them down for myself. Not so much to read them in the future, because I don't, but I just want to have it outside of myself so I don't think about it the whole day, and kind of like put it on paper. That eases my brain in a way, and it's out there if I want to read it one day. So I want to yeah, this is probably me in the dream world. Um, yeah, so I want to share with you my experience from today. It's really strange. I've had these dreams lately about. Oof, they're not light. They're kind of dark and heavy, and existential crisis kind of heavy. But I think they're very in tandem with what's going on in the world lately, and maybe a little bit of my concerns and humanity and what we're going through and our future. And so I fell asleep today, and in my dream I was a prisoner inside some kind of like an underground catacomb, worst type of a scenario, prison, underground base. I don't know what it was, but I think it was some kind of an underground base, and it's not first for me, as I said. um we were all women there, and we had like a room assigned to us, even though it was like inside of some really primitive, brutal like catacombs. There was like a modern room inside of the end of it, and we were multiple women sleeping in that room. But outside of that room we had no utilities, no food, no nothing. Like basically the most primitive type of existence that you can imagine or maybe have seen in movies from previous centuries, just sent out there to basically rot and die and starve to death and whatnot. And the funny thing is, actually outside of that room, and that room wasn't like really modern, basically there were beds in it, and that's what I remember. It was really dark, but outside of it, people were going to the bathroom just anywhere, and yeah, primitive completely. And there was this feeling of just wanting to escape and not having enough air, and just wanting to have some light and nature and freedom and to breathe air, and we couldn't do that. We had guards, and the guards were women as well, and they had, you know, different type of clothing, but they were slaves as well. In a way, they were imprisoned there as well. They were just like on a different level of imprisonment, much like in the German Holocaust or Nazi Holocaust. You had, you know, slaves just being couple soldiers as well, and those were the types of women that were keeping us in place in there. And in some way I kind of found a way to escape that room, and found a way to sneak into their shower. And we didn't have showers, we didn't have anything, any utilities, any nothing. And it was very clear the distinction between us and them, because they were kind of like clean and tidy, and they had some tools, kind of like, I don't know what it was, almost like these GPS bracelets or something that we didn't have, and they could communicate with it. And so you could very easily distinguish between us. And I somehow managed to get into their shower, and they had like a mutual shower, 3 showers for like a room, and they were showering together, and I was like dying to take a shower. I guess that's my first need in such a dream. And yeah, they figured out I wasn't one of them, and they were like almost scared of the fact that I was there, and they were scared to get into trouble, and also the fact that I was a filthy prisoner. Who knows how much time I was spending in the other sector. I was basically filthy, I guess, and they were disgusted by me, so they left. And I was just like standing there taking a shower, planning my escape. And then instantly I woke up. I woke up. I don't know what this was, but I woke up kind of like in my house, in this kind of reality, but not awake really. It was just another level of a dream. And again, we were kind of like being gathered, and this was okay. The first one was a dream, regular, you know. If you wake up from it, you know it's a regular dream. The second one, it was like I woke up, like for all I know from this point of time, I'm like awake. Everything is extremely real and detailed and hyper realistic. So we are being gathered into buses, and we're being taken, kidnapped, whatever you want to call it. And only the young people were gathered, relatively young. My mom was taken too. We were in the same bus, and we were being driven in the country. It was a day. It was Sunday actually, and I had this dream today, so it's a Saturday. It's kind of like strange. I dreamt it was tomorrow. um, we were we were driven in this bus, like a super long journey, um, around the coastline, um, up on some really steep road where you could see like downhill. It was like really steep, almost the bus falling off of it, and there was the ocean on the down end of it. And I thought we were like driving on some island, but we got there by bus, so it must have been some kind of like a half island, but we drove so for such a long time. And I don't remember anyone being threatening to us in terms of holding weapons against us. But there was this feeling of just, it's over, you know, game over. We're done. We're just basically being driven to our ends. And we arrived to this place, and there's like a lot of young people just standing outside of a big building. Later in the dream, I come to realize it's like an auditorium or like a theater inside For some reason I want to say it's a little bit like the Bima in Tel Aviv, but it did not look like it. For some reason though, I feel like there is some mutual aspects of both buildings. So we're like standing outside and we know we gotta cooperate, because if we don't, we're gonna end up being just like in the first dream. And I don't feel like I can trust anyone there. There's one person from my first school years, like second or third grade, from abroad. I haven't seen that person in like over 20 years, but he was in my dream, and I'm like, hey, it's a good guy, and I'm telling him about the dream and that this is not good, we're going through, and we have to stay alert or whatever and be careful, but it's not like we have anywhere to go. And during the whole trip there in the bus, I'm thinking, I have nothing. Like I failed. I failed myself. Like I'm not ready. I didn't get a knife. I didn't get any tools. I don't have a bag. We weren't allowed to take anything with us, and it's basically done. I'm done. And the only way to escape this place is to build a boat. And I don't know anything about building boats and sailing, and how am I going to do that without a knife? Those were my thoughts. And then we drove there, and seeing that friend, telling him about my dream, and we were divided into small groups, and my mom was gone. Like everyone there was basically in their 20s and 30s. There weren't any people who were younger or older, and there were a lot of young women, not a lot of men, very, very few men. And so we were just basically waiting outside to be called in. No one knows what's going on and once people are called in, you don't see them anymore. In a way, they just go in. People are steadily being called in. There's like a steady flow of humans going inside this building, and you don't see anyone going out. And there was this feeling of we have to cooperate because there is a much worse scenario that we can fall into just because of that dream that I woke up from, right? And so we're waiting, and it's not like there's anywhere to run. And for all I know, like the experience of the dream was as if we drove for days. It felt like driving for like a day and a half or 2 days. So that's countries. I've driven in the past for like 25 hours, and we passed like 3 countries. So I don't even know what this was in my dream experience. So there's nowhere to run. We have no resources, no food, no nothing. And we're waiting outside, and I'm divided into a group of 6 women. I don't know why. I don't know what's with the number. And again, a long waiting, and my group gets called in, but I'm not called in. Like no one told me. I guess this kind of like a theme can be repetitive in some dreams when you feel like you're stressed and you're like sitting in an exam table at school even though you're like 40. Yeah, so everybody got called in and they're inside and I'm not, and I'm like feeling, oh shit, things are getting even worse than they already were. So I had the feeling that I had to come clean and tell them that I'm in that group. And there was this selection woman in her 40s, 50s, just standing guard, or basically calling in people from the list into the building. And she was just, you know how some women can appear to be way more sadistic than men, that type of a person. Yeah, she basically called me in, took out this book outside of her table or counter or whatever this was in the entrance, and threw it at another guy way up the stairs, because this looked like an auditorium, and that was basically my file. I had a file. It was like a book size of a file about me, who I am, what I am, whatever was inside, threw it there, and she was like, go to him. And the whole atmosphere of things was extremely heavy, like a life and death situation kind of a feeling. And I could feel that. And there weren't a lot of people inside that room, auditorium. And there was a huge screen, a lot of chairs just built, kind of like going up. And I had to walk to this guy, and he was calling the shots in a way. He was one of the main people deciding what happens with people in there, and he was completely looking friendly in a way, kind of like young and joking, and not even sitting down on his chair, kind of like leaning onto his table. Didn't even look at my file, made some joke about whatever was on screen and joked with me and told me to go sit down. And whatever was going on the screen was a little bit like a reality TV competition in a way, where each person that was being called in had to do something to show their skills, their intelligence, their creativity, whatever. And everyone had like a different goal set for them, a task. Each group had a different task. So we were 6 girls, women in our group, and we had the same task. I was told to go sit down, and on the upper side of the auditorium there was like a really dark door. That's where people went. For some reason I wasn't told to go there. I felt kind of like lucky not to be there. I felt like whoever went there didn't come back. So I sat by the door, and I was about to be called in, and then on the screen I see another one of my abroad friends, but this time from high school. And she was apparently in my group, and our task was apparently to do an advertisement on the topic of race, in terms of racing cars, race, not a race as in human race. Yeah, she did her thing, and we didn't have any resources, time, or any suggestion, any tools, anything. We're just like supposed to come up with something and shoot a video in instant. And people were judged on their skills and intelligence and creativity accordingly, and their destiny was decided according to that. Sound familiar? I guess there are some movies like that. A little bit like the Gattaca movie, where your destiny and your whole life is decided upon your DNA. You also, I think, had Divergent movie, where you were born into a certain family or region, and you had to go through some tests, and that decided your future. Either way, back to my experience or dream. I see my friend from high school on the screen, and there's another one of these big judges just coming out of the black door, sitting down one chair, skipping next to me. And people were just like watching and kind of like ridiculing people on the screen as if, they're beneath them. And she made fun of my friend, and I tried to kind of like defend her point of why she chose to create that certain ad for race. It's ridiculous. And then I was supposed to be called in, kind of like the impending doom of what am I gonna do? This is like the end. And it just felt that way. It felt like it's either death from here or some kind of like slavery, imprisonment on different degrees, that none of them really is preferable, because I want to be free just like any other human being that has a healthy mind. I just felt like game over. throughout this whole dream. A complete game over. It was so real to me. The details, like I can draw the freaking auditorium. I remember everything, and the way time passed in there. And also I had thoughts when I was in there. I thought, shit, like I was supposed to meet this friend, and I didn't get to say the things I wanted to say, and I had videos scheduled on my YouTube, and I would appear to be okay when I'm actually not okay, so no one would know I'm being captured or whatever. Like, everything was completely clear to me. I remembered who I was, I remembered my plans for tomorrow, I remembered what day it was, even though I dreamt it was Sunday, and I dreamt it on Saturday. Very, very, very intense. Usually I have memories inside my dreams, and also I remembered the previous dream inside that dream. So there was like a sequence of events that was consistent, and a lot of times when you skip from a dream to a dream, you don't remember what you dreamt previously because you're not a dreamer, you're the current character inside the dream. But I was me, and I've had this before, but it was so real. I felt like I was gonna die there, and then I opened my eyes in my bed, and I'm still trying to convince myself that that was a dream. My body did not feel like I slept for 9 hours, not at all. That wasn't a dream. I know it sounds completely insane, but some of these experiences, when you wake up, there's even if it's the most realistic kind of a lucid dream, even some people say they can astral travel, you still open your eyes and there's like a certain physical experience that you get when you wake up, like this merging between your consciousness and your body. It happens. When I opened my eyes today, it felt like I was transferred here, like I was brought back in time in a way, like almost like when you play a computer game and something bad happens and you have like previous saves, you just exit the game and you load a previous save. That's how I felt, completely, like 100%. It's really interesting, the science of dreams. Need to dig more into that, but yeah, the whole concept of dreaming of underground catacombs and domes. I've been dreaming a lot about that lately, and I haven't been reading about it, so it's not like suggestion. Haven't really been thinking about these things during the day, so couldn't say that it's just a dream, you know? Certainly something more to it, and I guess I'm here telling you about it because it just adds one more drop into the glass of water of this concept or theme that we need to be ready, and I wasn't ready. Things are going really wrong in the world, and we don't know when the next hit is gonna happen, and we better be ready for it as best as we can, in a way. There's certain skills that we need to learn. Physically, we might want to get ready. A lot of people say buy tons of food, buy water, find a natural source of water, get yourself a bag ready to go if you have to go suddenly, if something happens, if there's a natural disaster. Have cash, you know? And I'm not here to bring fear mongering, just here with a sober intent to bring logic maybe a little bit into our world, because sometimes we can have this false sense of security, and to be honest, without modern civilization, most of us don't know how to survive like a week in the wilderness. We don't know how to purify water, like a lot of us don't know how to freaking light a fire, how to set a fire pit, absolutely basic things, not to mention growing food, hunting, and building shelter. Hopefully we don't have to get there, but it's good to know these things and build these skills and have this belief in self and feel like time is not granted, because it's not. No one grants you, us, myself, tomorrow or the next hour. So I think it's good to stay in the present moment, and if you have things unsaid, say them. If you have people you want to talk to them. Don't postpone anything. I guess that's why I'm really here. And yeah, share your thoughts on this experience. If you had anything similar to that, please share. I would love to read about it. I thought I was like a advanced dreamer, but today just proved to me that things are getting way and way more advanced lately, and I'm dreaming about all of these dumps and getting maps of their locations in my dreams. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But yeah, and I've actually avoided looking into the real maps on the internet. And just before recording this video, I looked up one of them. Yeah. So what are dreams really? Maybe God is communicating with us, transferring us to places so we can witness things going on that are hidden, so we can bring light onto these things. Maybe it's deception. I don't know. I'm like trying to examine it and test it, not take it face value. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope I wasn't rambling too much, and if I was, well, I can't take it back. So have yourself a really good evening, night, morning, day, afternoon, whenever this catches you. I'm gonna see you next time. Bye.